I'm going to introduce about the paper from like Daniel Alpdiva. Yeah, he is a professor in Northwestern University, and yeah, his paper is very his paper is very good, and this is very late, the very latest paper. And as you can see here, we are already wondering if practitioners use the similar measurement or the same measurement for audit quality that we use in academia. So this is the, okay, let me show you this. Okay, so this is better. Okay, so I'm going to start with start from research question and data, methodology, and empirical results, and conclusion and remark. So the paper, the research question starts from the degree of concordance about the measurement between like academia and practitioners. And the author assigned the practitioner, the first practitioner as a PCAOB, and the second one is audit firms. Also that is from like PCAOB. And practitioner's measurement is about the first measure for PCAOB efficiencies is part-one finding, and the second measure is the internal inspection deficiency. And the practitioner, the level of agreement between practitioners and academic views on unclear, because may have some or they have like different initiatives. So in this paper, the audit like contributions to the literature. The first one is the author showed that the practitioners and academics agree about audit quality to some degree. The second one is the author offers them some guidance about publicly available measures of audit. For example, like risk statement and meet or beat the small earnings threshold and audit fees. And you will see that variables later. And I saw that like many variables are very, very reasonable. And that's why I think that Abby also used that many variables from this paper. And the next one is data. And yeah, simply he got the data from PCAOB, and then he merged it with computed data to get some like control variables. And that's the same for the internal inspection samples. So he got the internal inspection document from with the inspection rating, and then merged with the computed data. So this is the descriptive statistics. So for PCAOB, inspected data is 5,300 observations, and internal inspection sample is about like 2,300 observations. So that's the last sample, the finalized sample for each category. And as you can see here, for panel B, part-one finding is about like 27.5%, and the internal inspection sample, which is not satisfactory, is about like 19% for all. The next is about the measures of audit quality. The author chose like 15 measures, and the first one is about total accruals and the absolute value of total accruals, and the discretionary accruals, which is the residual of the model from number one. And also he used like total accrual divided by the cash flow from operations. So that's 4 measures. And the fifth measure is the Detroit and the Chevron residuals. And this is that is the residual from that model from number 2. And the other measures is for 5 measures each from non-accrual output proxies and input proxies. So next is methodology. So this is the research design for part 1 finding and internal ratings. And this is very similar to audit. The independent variables are audit quality measures that we saw that before the 15 measures. And also the control variables are like leverages and sales growth and standard variable of cash flow from operations and litigations, etc. And the author visualized first and 99th percentile to reduce the impact of the outliers. So this is the descriptive statistics for PCAOB data. And as you can see here, the no part 1 findings subsample and with part 1 findings subsample, they have the different mean, like 0.11 and 0.16, and for the restatement. And it has the difference, very significant difference in means T statistics. That means practitioners have their own standard to discrete no part 1 findings subsample or with part 1 finding subsample. And this is the same for the inspection, internal inspection. So when we see the restatement, then for the satisfactory 1 sample or not satisfactory sample, they have like different mean, and this is also significantly different in T statistics. So next is empirical result. So when you see the accrual measures of audit quality that I mentioned, like 5 measures, as we say, like absolute value of total accruals, that kind of things. You can see on the header of this panel, the number 1 is discretionary accruals, and the second one is absolute value of discretionary accruals, that kind of things. So as you can see, the first row, then absolute value of discretionary accruals and absolute total accruals and absolute accruals, total accruals divided by cash flow from operations. They have positive associations with part 1 findings. And meanwhile, the CHO and SHAV residuals and the signed total accruals, they don't have associations. And as you can see here, for the control variables, leverage and standard variable, standard variance of cash flow from the operation have positive associations, and it suggests that the riskier clients are more difficult to proceed audit. And also you see the before control variable have a negative association, and which means the larger the auditors provide, the higher quality audit. And this is the accrual measures of audit quality for internal inspection. And it's a little bit weird, but audit quality measure, all the audit quality measure doesn't have any association with the internal inspections. And for control variables and leverage have a positive association similar to panel A. And this is kind of some funny thing that I want to point out. The December year end is marginally and negatively associated. That means despite the auditors constraint, time constraint during the very busy season, they still outperform than other seasons. And this is non-accrual measures of audit quality. which has the variable like restatement, small profit and prior ROA meets, the kind of things. And restatement and small profit have the positive association with part-one finding, but prior ROA meet and going concern and type 1 going concern, they don't have any associations. And this is for non-accrual measures of audit quality for internal inspections. So this is, we can see that, how can I say, like consistent with the results in panel A, restatement and small profit have positive association with internal inspection ratings and going concern and type 1 going concern does not have associations. But on the contrary to panel A, prior ROA may have a like marginal association on it. So this is input measures of audit quality for PCAOB. And audit fee have a negative association with part-one finding, which means that the higher auditor effort, then the fewer audit deficiencies. So because, if the audit fee, if the part-one finding is 1, that means that is poor auditing. So we can conclude that. And also new clients have a positive association, and which means that the insufficient knowledge about a particular client make the audit more difficult. And there's no association between part-one finding and industry specialization and office size here. And this is input measures of audit quality for internal inspections. And then it's similar to panel A, audit fee have a negative association with internal inspection ratings, and industry specialization and new clients don't have any associations. And next is combined regressions for PCAOB. So the author collected the independent variables for that worked consistently, and he just made that the regressions with the kind of variables. And see, like column 1, it doesn't have any measures for the independent variables. That means this is the baseline. And when you see the column 8, column 8 has the highest pseudo R squared measures, which is 0.089. So, and also at the same time, AUC is the highest for the column 8, and AUC is for like briefly explain, AUC is area under the curve. So if it goes to, the range is from 0 to 1, and if it goes to 1, that means the perfectly predictive, and 0.5, like half, that means just random, and 0 means like wrongfully, like perfectly wrong predictive. And the next one is combined regressions for internal inspections, and it's the same for this is the same for the panel A. The column number 1 is just baseline, and when you see the column number 3, then you see the adjust R squared is the highest and 0.091. So we can see that the like absolute value of accruals or doesn't have any relations. And also, if we compare with the combined regressions for PCAOB, and accruals doesn't have the similar, I mean, they don't have the same level of the relations or associations with the PCAOB, like particularly part-one finding. So the conclusion is the findings in this paper is first, the concordance about the observable measures of audit quality between like academic researchers and practitioners that really exist. So as you can see, as you already saw that before, the observable measures are restatement and smart profit and audit fees. So we can find that accruals actually doesn't matter for the practitioners. And the second finding is the practitioners and practitioners and academics share a common ground in identifying low quality audits, despite widely different approaches to assess audit quality. Yeah, actually that's a similar explanation about the first finding. Next is Remark. While I'm reading this paper, then I have some questions about this. Some questionable part. So the first one is the audit fee and audit hours. This is the table 7, and which is input measures of audit quality for PCAOB. And we find that audit fee are significant, very significant, with 1% level, but audit hours are not significant at all here, as you can see from column 2 and 3. But you know, audit fees and audit hours have their correlation is like around 90%. That means I believe I don't want to say that like his research design is wrong, but maybe there are some other like factors that may affect to some audit hours rather than audit fees. Maybe we have to figure out that later. And the next remark is practitioners' different incentive. So this is the comparison for the accrual measures of audit quality, PCAOB, and internal inspection. And as I told you before, that no accrual measures have associations with internal inspections ratings. And I think this is very weird because even the PCAOB members, they normally previously like worked for big four audit firms more than 10 years, so that they're already like major levels in big fours. But why after they like, you know, how can, when they were in like audit firms, they care about, you know, they didn't care about the accruals, but after they move to like PCAOB, then why they just suddenly try to care about like accruals? Is maybe there are some like different incentives in when they are in firms. So I think we need to figure out that later. I was just wondering why it happens, but still I hadn't got that answer. So this is the answer. This is presentation for today. So thank you for listening.